Hi, everybody, and welcome. We're David and Tracy Freck, lead pastors of Church of the Harvest. And we're really grateful you took the time to watch this rebroadcast of this past week's message at Church of the Harvest.
Hey, it doesn't matter what time you're joining us. It could be in the middle of the night, it could be during the day. But we trust that the Word of God will minister to your spirit today, and that there will be something that happens in your spirit that you've been longing for.
Absolutely. We're committed to helping you grow in your relationship with Jesus Christ. That's why we provide this message in a format that you can watch anytime you like. So would you do something? Just don't watch it, but also think about how we can connect with you and make a difference in your life. So take the time to send us an email, look at the description below for next steps. However we can engage you, it would be our privilege and our honor to do so. So come on into the service, experience the Word, and let Jesus change your life.
I just want to share something, as Pastor David said. Every week I tell the church, I said, we're moving. I said, we're moving spiritually and we're moving physically. And so the reality of it is we've had so much great things happen in the past, really 5.5 years since we became Church of the Harvest. But I want to just read out of Mark chapter 2. Many of us know the story, how Jesus healed a paralytic. It says, and when he returned to Capernaum, talking about Jesus after some days, it was reported that he was at home. And many were gathered together so that there was no more room, not even at the door, and he was preaching the word to them. You know, wherever Jesus is preached, you know it's going to fill up. Wherever the word is preached in truth, people are going to gather. And for many years, what we've done, you know, what's really awesome is we actually didn't even have a band until probably 3 years ago. I mean, that's really amazing that God would grow something without a band. In today's day and age, we got some tracks and some singers, and we just relied on one thing. It's the presence of God. We needed God with us. I remember when I asked Pastor David, how do we grow this church? How do we do this? He said, I go, what are the steps? He said, throw your processes out, throw your structures out. You need the presence of God. You need God with you. And I've always loved that about him. Above all, even though we might not have all the bells and whistles, what we always have had is the presence of God. And he's filled the house. And when he fills the house, what happens? People gather. Where there's a fire, people come and look. And this is what started just a few years ago with just a few people. It started in, Pastor Bethany and I, we started in our house with just a couple families and a seed and a vision. And we believe that God has something bigger. We went from a school to this building we're in. And you know what's really awesome about this building we're in? We knew that the building that we were in was a gift from God. It wasn't just any building. We just didn't go look for something else, just like we didn't go look for this one. This building came after us. I'll share that real quick because Pastor David said he gave me the liberty, so I'm going to take it. It's really, you got to hear the story in it because it's amazing. We were in a school for a couple years, and we were ready to move into a new building. We really, setting up tables and chairs and everything and getting put into classrooms your kids don't belong in, like the computer room at the school. I had a picture of Adrian Peterson with the milk mustache next to me preaching for the first 2 years. It was awesome. One Easter we came in and they decided to change the toilets that weekend, and they were all in the hallway on our big Easter service. So we were ready to move at some point, So we saw this building, and we went into it, and they wanted $450,000, which sounds like a bargain, but it's big money when you don't have no money. And we went in, and I was like, man, this is really awesome. One of our elders, Pastor Bethany, was with us. We walked out going, this is awesome. We really want this. So I went to the banker, and I said, hey, we really want this. And he said, well, there's only 3 big problems. You haven't been around long enough. You don't have enough people, and you don't have no money. And I said, yeah, it's a big problem. He actually told me to go sell some chickens and see if I can make some more money that way. I still haven't figured that part out yet. And so a big rejection. A few months later, Pastor Bethany was praying. She called me and she said, hey, she said, man, I've been praying and the Lord's going to give us this building. And I was like, yes. Pastor Bethany has never been wrong when she's told me things. She doesn't just flippantly say things. So when she said that, it began to build my faith. So I went back and I told the congregation, the prophetess has spoken. No, I didn't say that at all. I did not even tell them about what she shared with me. I just went on ahead and I shared with them that God's doing something we can't see. God's getting ready to move in a miraculous way. And so 3 months later, that banker who rejected me gave me a call. And he said, "Are you interested in that building?" I said, "Absolutely." He said, "Come see me." Went to his office. He said, it was just a quick conversation. He said, "How you guys doing?" I said, "Same people, same money. We've been around eight months longer." And he said, he goes, "Okay, well, I'm going to come to your church on Sunday, and I'm going to see if you're worth the risk to us." And I said, "Okay, come on." He came, man, the Lord moved in his heart. Grabbed me by the arm on the way out, said, "Kenny, let's make this work. Come see me in my office on Monday." Went to his office. He said, "I think you're going to love what I have to offer you. How about the building for $269?" I said, "You got yourself a deal." And then he said, "How fast can you get $25,000? I said, "Well," I said, this is what I love about Church of the Harvest. We believe in giving our best and our first and our tithe and our offering, but we don't nickel and dime everything and every single thing that we do. I told the banker, I said, "I don't nickel and dime them. They're going to come through." He's like, "You've been around for 2.5 years, and you've got $40,000 in the bank. How are you going to get 25? I said, "I don't know. I just believe that God will." In 21 days, we raised $25,000. Single moms were given $1,000. We had a family that was getting ready to buy a new house, but instead of putting their money on the new house, they put it on the new building. And we had two families do a multi-garage sale, and they made over $3,000 at a garage sale. Let me tell you something. Oh, and this is even better. The banker and the vice president each gave $1,000 each on paying for the money. The Lord's in it, right? And so we knew is that this building was more than just a building. This building was a gift from God. And so as we started growing and running out of room, we knew that there was going to be something bigger and greater that God wanted to do. Well, so we prayed, and we prayed we do Pursue Nights, our prayer night. We pray every week, "Lord, sell the building. Lord, or not sell the building, direct us to the right place. We need a new place." And so we weren't real big on just going to another location. That wasn't the point. If God wasn't in it, we didn't want to move. If God wasn't in where we were going, we were content with staying where the cloud was, where the fire is. Not just, I'm going to watch myself. I'm going to go viral if I fall in that thing. It'll be like 3 million hits in just a matter of moments, right? So anyway. Okay, help me, Lord. So we didn't just want to move. We wanted it to be another God thing. And this is what God did. He did a miraculous thing in order to get us to this place of a new location. Again, it wasn't about just moving to a better location, even though it is a better location. The Lord put us back in. If you've ever been to the place, you really have to want to go to be there. It's in the back corner, northeast corner of Independence, where it's inconvenient for everyone, except for the people that live in the neighborhood, the ones that are sad that we're leaving. And so it's really far back. And I remember making all the excuses of why we couldn't grow. How many of you ever been there? You might have a lack of faith. I'm like, "Lord, we can't grow out here. This can't happen." Well, God can do anything at any time, any way he wants. And so when we were the Fountain Church, as Pastor David said, we were running about between 80 and 100. After 5 years, this is what's happened. We run over 300 a week right now. We filled up the parking. The parking spaces in grass on the street next door. We're running out of kids' spaces where we had to create spaces with partitions. And even our sanctuary is starting to get really full. And this is what put us in the place where we're like, "Okay, Lord, now we need a new location." So we prayed, and the Lord answered. And sometimes the Lord gives you an answer that maybe you don't want. I get this from Pastor David, sorry. I go, I do the same thing. I'm like, "Lord," but I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't want to learn from anybody but you. Sorry, I'm having a quick moment, and it's over. All right. And so we didn't want to move just to move. We wanted to move because we wanted God to be in it. And so we believe that what happened with us getting this building was nothing more than a God thing again. I'm telling this story not because I'm taking you on vacation with me, but Pastor Beth and I went to Destin, Florida, and it was a great time. But when we went the first day, we were supposed to leave Monday, we went to the airport, and when we got there, we get there and our flight's canceled because of rain in Atlanta. That's a real bummer. except for they put us on first class the next day. I never rode first class before. I got a turkey sandwich out of the deal on the flight. And so we flew down. So the reason I'm saying this is because it put us a day behind coming home. Well, on the way back, there's another storm in Atlanta. I guess it storms in Atlanta all the time, or it does only when we're in Destin. And so as we're flying home, or we're at a 2-hour delay, we get to Atlanta at 12:30, we're getting ready to board the plane to go home, and they cancel our flight right when we're getting ready to get on the plane. So I got a new experience. I got to spend the night at the Atlanta hotel, or not hotel, the Atlanta airport. So they moved our flight, our connecting flight, to 1 o'clock the next day to Minneapolis. So we get to Minneapolis, we're there at 1, and they kick that back 3 hours. So now it's 4 o'clock. We still haven't left anywhere yet. And they did something that was so tempting. You ever had an airline tempt you with moving your flight for some money? $1,500 each to move it back another day. And I'm like, all right, Bethany, let's do this. I said, this will pay for our whole flight. It's already ruined everything anyway. We're already missing church the next day. It's all good. Let's just do it. But I really felt like we were supposed to be in this golf tournament. I was in a golf tournament. It was a benefit tournament for a Christian school with Pastor David, Armand, and Armand's son was supposed to play with us, but he ended up not being able to make it, so I called a friend of mine named Howard to come and take his place. First of all, I felt this real unction that I needed to be there to golf, and not because I needed to carry the team. I needed to be there. I really felt like the Lord was in this for some reason. So I asked Howard. Howard's a great guy. I asked Howard to come play, and he's like, well, yeah, I'll play with you, but I just want you to know I just had shoulder surgery and I can't drive. And I'm like, well, that's not going to help us much, but come on. And so he came, and Pastor David and Howard knew a lot of the same people. And right away, they begin to just talk and hit it off. And next thing you know, he's talking about the Independence campus and how we're running out of space. And he's like, well, I might have a solution for you. And so our ears were attentive. And we finished the golf match, ate some barbecue. And he took us to the building where Anthea owned. And we went there, and we went in that place. See, I think the Lord sometimes wants to try to get you to believe or get you off track of what he wants, because I was really wanting that $3,000, but God was wanting to reach a whole community. God was wanting to do something different than sometimes our comfort and what's good for us. And so we went there, and I walked around, and Pastor David walked around, and we walked around. He's like, what do you think? And I'm like, well, I think we're 4 miles the wrong way. I always wanted to be on 291 and I-70 where it's all happening. But the Lord said, no, 4 miles this way. So I was talking to Pastor David the next day in his office. He's like, what do you think? And I'm like, well, I don't know. He's like, well, I got a green light, so we're going to keep on moving through. And so we kept on did. Our whole team came, and to my surprise, our whole team was like, man, this is it. Let's go. And Pastor Bethany and me were the hold-up. We were like, we didn't just want to move because we can move. We just didn't want to move because of space. We wanted to move because the cloud is moving. We want to move because the fire is leading us. We want to move because God is in it. Because we know if God is in it, what's going to happen is that the broken are going to be fixed. The sorrow are going to have joy. Those who are lost are going to be found. And in that moment, we just both knew that this was the right thing. And so what happened is, I love this story. And he kept on going, and he said, and they came bringing to him a paralytic carried by 4 men, and they could not get near him because of the crowd. They removed the roof above him, and when they had made an opening, they let down the bed on which the paralytic lay. The reality of everything we've been doing here has been an act of faith. And just like the 4 men had to act in faith, same with us to get to where we are today. It's been an act of faith from the beginning. One of the things I do love about Pastor David, and I shared this before, he's a man of faith. I remember when he took us all on his Church of the Harvest. I remember the first time I was preaching here. We were having lunch that week. I don't know if you remember it, but I do. He said, he goes, I don't think I've ever heard you preach before. I hope you're good. And so I remember him saying that. I was like, well, good thing you haven't, because you might say no. And so, but we came in. But I love just his willingness to say, okay, if God is in this, let's do it. And this is what we did when we began to purchase the building. We didn't have the building sold yet. We just believed that God was going to be in it, and God was going to take care of things on his timing in the way that he wanted to. And we couldn't be more thrilled on how God sold our building exactly when we needed it. We didn't need it sold back 6 months ago, then over a year ago. We needed it sold 30 days ago. And 30 days ago put some pressure on us to be in next week. And we're so excited to be there. Well, let me just end with this and tell you that God is in what we're doing. And we're believing that God is going to restore the broken. He's going to give sight to the blind. The lame will walk. Miracles are going to be seen again. Because Nolan Road used to be called the Miracle Mile. They used to call it the Miracle Mile because of all the car dealerships on the road. But now car dealers don't give you any type of miracles anymore. So what we need is real miracles. We need God miracles. We need miracles of restoration. We need miracles of peace. And we're just believing that. Here's how the story ends after the man was healed. It says this: he rose up and immediately picked up his bed, went out before them all, so that they were all amazed and glorified God, saying, we never saw anything like this. I'm believing as we go into Nolan Road that we're going to see nothing that Jackson County has ever seen before. Come on, we're going to see miracles, we're going to see signs, we're going to see wonders, and we're going to see God work in a miraculous way. God bless you guys. Thank you for your time.